All right, good morning. Oh yeah, pump it up, DLAKE, and welcome to the Media Speaks Live Saturday morning news show. I'm DLAKE from PREZ. I'm joined today by Anthony Kort of the Media Speaks. Anthony, how's it going?
I'm fabulous, DLAKE from PREZ. Thanks for having me on today.
Excellent. So glad you could join us. We're also joined by Sam DiGangi, Sam of the Correct Views, and the band Passing Time. Samuel.
Greetings, unsettled souls. Welcome to the Saturday edition.
Today, Sam, are you ready?
I am ready. Passing Time has a show later, so we'll be at the Maple Grove tonight, ready to hop on and hop off.
Okay, why don't you give a quick shout out to all viewers of where they can find you later on tonight, live and in person.
Yes, please come to the Maple Grove. It's in Maple Heights, Ohio. We're going to be there with a lot of different bands. Solace the City for one, so make sure whatever you're doing, you find yourself at the Maple Grove, make lots of noise, and let me know that you're there.
Excellent. Anthony, do you have any shows going on later on this evening that we should be aware of?
Not that I know of. My old band hasn't practiced. We broke up. It's been a couple of years now, so.
Okay.
Not that I know.
You might find Anthony at the local restaurant later if you're really looking for him, and myself as well. DLAKE for PREZ. Okay, great guys. Let's get into the news. Being that this is a Saturday morning news show that we do live every single Saturday, let's get that out of the way right away. That we do this live. We're live right now, and we do it every Saturday, right, guys?
Very much.
That's correct.
On the media.
Live in every way.
Thank you. Okay, guys. Let's get into the Chattanooga shooting, just right off the bat, right away. Why don't we just jump right into it? What did you guys hear, and how did you hear about it this week? I mean, because just my tale of, here at work, obviously I'm here at Sticker Junkie. I'm in the office today on a Saturday, but normally I'm here at this computer and I'm working during the week, and then the news pops up on Drudge Report, on my Facebook and stuff if I have time. And I look at certain things, and I'm like, whoa, there was a shooting in Chattanooga. 4 Marines were killed. That's the top headline. It seems they were Marines sort of at recruitment centers. Like he went up and shot up a recruitment center at the mall. And all the pictures show the front glass devastated by gunfire. And did you guys see any of those pictures?
I had seen everything pretty much. I ended up getting it just in a Facebook feed. I didn't really find it any way interesting. I didn't find the story in any interesting way. I wasn't surprised by the fact that there was another shooting in a gun-free zone. How about you, Anthony?
Definitely not. I mean, this is further evidence of how the Second Amendment, how further restriction of it doesn't help us at all, especially our service members, especially people at recruitment centers. I did see a citizen open carry protecting certain recruitment centers after the event happened. But it's too little too late. I mean, this is an example of what could happen in gun-free zones yet again, and it's like we're a broken record every time. Just with what happens with school shootings, teachers not being able to conceal carry, our own military not being able to conceal carry, not being able to carry on military bases and recruitment centers such as that.
I've heard certain presidential candidates actually talking about if they were president, they would immediately reverse that so that they could be armed on military bases, which I think is probably a safe and just and best idea. Chattanooga shooter changed after Middle Eastern visit. Okay, he was born in Kuwait, reportedly. Muhammad.
But we're talking about the Middle East.
Yeah, we're talking about the Middle East, not the Middle West, excuse me. An FBI investigator works outside a military recruiting center where gunmen opened fire Thursday, July 16th in Chattanooga. Today's top headline, #Chattanooga, Tennessee. And then there was reports that ISIS had hashtagged Chattanooga Was it before? Was it after? Fox runs with bogus ISIS link to Chattanooga shooting on Media Matters. But Media Matters is straight out of the White House, so who was right here? Fox News, Media Matters? Media Matters says Fox News reported that an ISIS-linked Twitter account warned of today's shooting in Tennessee before it happened. But the tweet in question was sent after the attack had ended. And then there's the whole thing of Barack Obama, issuing a happy end of Ramadan. I don't know all the words to say. But he says, happiness at the end of Ramadan and respect all Islamic religious traditions. He says all that before issuing any, condolences or talk about the shooting that had just occurred in Chattanooga. And how did you guys feel about that? Did you see that report?
I did hear about that, D-Lake.
Okay, Kort, I don't know if you just roboed out, but Sam, did you see that?
And that particular I had missed. Like I said, the last I had heard was that the other people there were guarding it themselves. Oh, I think we got Kort back.
Kort, are you back?
I believe so. Am I still robo-cording?
No, you're doing fine. Go ahead.
I don't know. I probably just skipped into Sam's point that he was making. I didn't mean to do that. It's just the lag here I'm having. But yeah, I'd heard about that. But I think it just, and I'm not defending the president at all, but I'm just saying that's sort of the politically correct aspect that liberals usually have. Whether I've certain Tea Party people will call him a Muslim and that he is a follower of Islam. I don't personally know or claim to know what.
Yeah, and I mean,
but it came at poor timing, of course. But
yeah,
I firmly believe that it's not. Most people who are Muslim aren't extremists. Don't want to go out and commit mass murder. It's just a small minority of extremists. And it may be unpopular for me to say that. Certain Tea Party people are all about hating Islam. And I don't claim any hold of any particular religion or that one is superior to another, but it obviously came at poor timing. And however you or anybody perceives that, I mean that's just that's just based on how you look at it, I guess. But,
right.
Go ahead, Sam.
Kort, investigators sought to decipher the motives of the gunmen who targeted U.S. troops in Chattanooga, Tennessee. They also began to confront the uncomfortable question of whether counterterrorism agencies are reaching the practical limits of what they can do to detect homegrown plots. In an article on the Washington Post that's headlined, "The Killer of the Marines Set Off No Red Flags." Marines killer set off no red flags, Kort. On Friday, yesterday, being that this is a Saturday live news show, federal officials said they were investigating the shootings on Thursday in Chattanooga as a possible terrorist attack. But we're a long way from drawing conclusions. They said the gunman, 24-year-old Mohammed Yusuf Abdulaziz, and I mean, okay, his name is Muhammad Yusuf Abdulaziz. Now, don't let me be prejudiced by anyone's name, Anthony Kort. But Abdulaziz had not previously drawn the attention of authorities, save for the drunken driving charge a few months ago, Sam. He had a DUI a couple months ago, Sam, where I believe this picture was taken, if you're looking at my screen share, of the gunman, kind of smiling, just looking, like a regular guy with a beard. I mean, nothing too out of the ordinary there, I would say. He didn't. I mean, if you click into the links of people arrested in Miami, Sam, they're all fucked up on heroin and tweak and crack and meth and shit. I mean, this guy doesn't look that bad, does he, Sam?
No, and now most of the DUI laws are just crap anyway. I'd be interested to see what he blew, because now I think they're just reaching for straws.
Oh, you're looking for what he blew? What about you, Kort?
Regarding the DUI or
well, I mean, anyways, Abdulaziz traveled to the Middle East. His acquisition of several firearms and his recent online musings about the meaning of Islam were coming under fresh examination as hundreds of federal agents sought to reconstruct his movements and his mindset. I thought Google could predict all this by now. Quote, at this time, we have no indication he was inspired by or directed by anyone other than himself, said Edward Reinhold, the special agent in charge of the FBI's office in Knoxville, Tennessee, and he told that to reporters yesterday. U.S. officials said the devices including a computer and cell phone believed to have been belonging to Abdulaziz were examined by FBI technicians in a laboratory in Quantico, Virginia. Okay, and the article goes on, and we're still looking for, you know, what was the motive. I mean, the guy's name is Muhammad. He goes to the Middle East a bunch of times. He was born in Kuwait. He's here in America. So are they going to paint him as a Muslim extremist influenced possibly by ISIS? Kort, what do you think?
Oh, of course, most likely they will. And, you know, I already, reading through certain articles, they're trying to say, and just like you said earlier, that you know, there wasn't, he didn't appear to be radical. Although he was a devout Muslim, he wasn't, didn't have any activity that showed he had.
Mm-hmm. And his friends sort of back up that claim. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, I dropped you here. But yeah, there's no evidence showing that he was chanting "Death to America" and holding up the ISIS flag and holding up Confederate flags or burning Confederate flags. But you know, people.
According to CNN, friends say though that this person that killed the 4 U.S. Marines, I mean, at recruiting centers, it wasn't like he was really, you know, like in war. You know, I mean, it was a sucker punch. And one Navy sailor at recruiting offices, like in the mall, like in a strip mall.
I know he said that we were going to see great acts. All I saw was acts of cowardice. It doesn't take much bravery to shoot an unarmed person. I was very shocked at his post, because it seemed to me to be the exact opposite of what he did.
And Sam, I mean, what if you're going to make a targeted attack, attacking a recruitment center, killing random Marines? That doesn't really hurt us. I mean, it's obviously a tragedy and it's horrible. I'm not downplaying the event, but you think they'd make their targets count? I mean, how does this? I mean, it doesn't cripple the United States at all. All it does is allow our government to make excuses to further restrict our rights. I mean, at least that's what the government does, and what liberals and even conservatives use these types of situations to say we need more security, we need more surveillance of social media and our phones, and we need to have, they just use these situations to restrict our rights. It's, just like the Patriot Act, 9/11, and all that. But obviously this is a smaller event in comparison, but that's just what seems to happen. And when we have the school shootings and these military bases.
Well, Anthony, you're bringing up a lot of good points, and could you maybe tie together this particular shooting in Chattanooga, and Sam, you as well, like to the overall narration of mass shootings? I mean, when Dylan Roof went in to the church, and apparently he was there an hour before he opened fire, killed, I believe it was 9 individuals at the oldest black church in America there in South Carolina. But and ever since then we had to wage war on the Confederate flag, which was really weird. But Obama said that was like the 12th or 13th time he's had to address a mass shooting casualty in America, taking the lives of several Americans, and in this situation, Marines and a sailor, people that had signed up to be in the military. And I mean, it happened at a recruiting station where we're trying to sign up more people to join our U.S. military. Was that the significance of this attack? Was this guy influenced by ISIS in any way or the Middle East? I mean, the man who killed 4 U.S. Marines and a Navy sailor in Chattanooga, Tennessee, had changed after spending time in the Middle East and quote-unquote distanced himself for the first few months after returning, a friend says. Something happened over there. Abdul Razak Razada said of Muhammad Yusuf Abdulaziz, adding that, quote, he never became close to me like he was before he went overseas. I'm sure he had something that happened to him overseas. But this guy was a guy that was an engineer. He was in college. He was trying to, you know, have a good life here in America. He was a Kuwaiti-born, naturalized U.S. citizen. But he went overseas on some sort of visits. I mean, who did he meet with? Kort, the CIA? I don't know. But when he came back, he decides he wants to get a bunch of guns and go kill a bunch of possibly Army and Marines at the recruiting centers. I mean, what's going on here, guys? What do you think?
Do you
Kort,
think?
go ahead.
Sam?
Do you think, yeah, I was going to say, do you think the two are directly connected, or do you think it's? People have to realize that there are just sick people in the world. Whether I mean, I happen to think the guy might be a legitimate terrorist, but people have to realize that the best way to fight terror isn't to do so unarmed. I don't know that it's as murky as this. This may be one of those rare, real terrorists. What do you think?
Do we need to check his Facebook?
I think it's a convenient time. You know, it's a convenient shooting, and they're using this to accelerate a lot of hatred and, you know, obviously fear and further divide Americans across, you know, the United States, and, you know, call him an Islamic extremist. You know, he's killed now. It said five Marines, I believe. 5 people are dead now, with an update I just saw from Communist News Network here, CNN otherwise.
He was an MMA fighter, it said.
I had not heard that.
Yeah,
yeah,
just
there is a 5th death. I didn't get the identity of the individual. But it comes at a very controversial time. I mean, we've in the last week or so, you've seen nothing about. Last couple of weeks, actually, you've seen nothing about the Confederate flag and how, you know, even Kid Rock is saying "kiss my ass, I won't stop using it." He's going up there with Ted Nugent on that.
A man who covered his entire house in the Confederate flag was arrested. I saw a link on that earlier. I'm here on MSNBC's Andrea Mitchell. Was Chattanooga shooter just a Southern gun nut? I mean, maybe, but I mean...
you know, it's DLAKE right now. It seems to me that, especially the liberal media, is really pushing conservatives into a corner, and I don't just mean Republicans, people who have libertarian views into a corner, and they're really trying to make them look racist, really trying to marginalize any sort of truther by putting them in a corner saying, hey, look, they support the Confederate flag, and that automatically means that we want slavery, or that we don't like black people, or that we don't. Now it's that we don't like anybody who's of Arab descent, or you know, of Persian descent from Iran. You know, with the whole Iran deal in the news, and then this you know, this gun nut comes out and starts shooting up recruitment centers, and you know, it's coming at a perfect time, and it's all before the 2016 election here.
Oh, okay, interesting. Kort, that's probably the second or third time you've alluded to a particular timing in this shooting incident, and do you want to elaborate on your thinking there?
Well, I'm not saying, you know, by any means that it's a false flag. I think that's a given. I mean, these things do happen. There are people who lose their minds and go postal. I mean, the term postal exists for a reason.
So then maybe you're talking more about the way that it's used politically after the fact.
Oh, yeah, and, you know, they jumped on it. The media is waiting for these things to come out and to promote their division. And just like, Kyle Phillips, who's not here today, disagreed with me that, that they're trying to divide us. And I think now maybe he might eat his hat on this. I mean, look at what's been happening the last few weeks. Now they're trying to make anybody who has conservative views or
okay, Kyle, who's not here on the show today, so just tread lightly. I mean, maybe he's eating his shoe, his hat, whatever. But go ahead, Kort, continue.
I'm not attacking Kyle. We're good friends, and sometimes we disagree.
Okay.
But
yeah, disagreement is healthy. Go ahead.
Yeah. We can't just have an agree fest here every day, every week. But I think it's quite obvious. They're really pushing the bar. If you follow Paul Joseph Watson from InfoWars, he's all over the feminists, the rise of feminism coming before the 2016 election. People like Hillary Clinton running. Now you have the race baiters with the whole Confederate flag going along in line with that, and now the Islamophobia is being kicked in. And I'm not saying that there's
Do you think ISIS Islamophobia is kicking in? Do you think?
Well, yeah. Well, I mean, look at the look at what's happening. I mean, this is the front page news. Obviously, they're not. I'm not saying this guy's innocent.
I thought the Mexican immigrant narrative was kicking in with the Trump comments.
Oh yeah, that's been on the forefront too, and you made a good point. I actually left that one out, and actually, you might disagree with this, but Gary Johnson was even saying how Trump's attracting all the racist bigots from.
That's bullshit.
That's actually what he said, and you disagree with that, and it may, or it's true to a certain degree.
I mean, that's gonna make me. That kind of narrative is offensive to me because I don't think that I am a racist or a bigot. I just watched Black or White with Kevin Costner last night. Come on, guys.
Yeah, I know, and I'm not saying everybody who likes what Trump's saying is racist. I mean, there's obviously people of Hispanic descent agreeing with coming into this country legally and agreeing with somewhat.
What's funny is he is right. I mean, they're not even counting illegal immigrants on sex offender registries.
Well, without getting, let's. I mean, last week we talked a lot about Trump, and he's been in the news a lot this week. And I'm still sort of supporting him, but let's not tread there. Let's talk a little bit more about what happened just the past 2 days. The Democrats had a cattle call with Hillary Clinton, Bernie Sanders, Martin O'Malley, and those other guys. Okay, Webb and Chaffee. They didn't do so well. Apparently they got to speak in alphabetical order. I don't know how that means that Clinton spoke before Chaffee or whatever, but they said it was alphabetical order. But Hillary Clinton underwhelmed. She underwhelmed. Sanders and O'Malley took the big cheers and all the ovations for what they were saying. And look, I'm not a big fan of progressive liberal democratic rhetoric, but those other guys were sort of surpassing Hillary Clinton's applause and ovations. And Kort, I mean, as someone that thinks that Hillary Clinton is an inevitable candidate for the Democrats, how do you feel about that? And Sam, how do you feel about Martin O'Malley, the shirtless president, rising in the ranks? Guys, what do you think?
I don't think he's going to go anywhere.
Yeah, I think he's going to go a lot of where. I think he's going to go a lot further than you guys think, Martin O'Malley.
I don't know. I haven't really heard much about O'Malley, but regarding Bernie Sanders, he doesn't have as much media play as Hillary Clinton does, and he may, to a very left base, may appeal more to those types of voters and supporters. But Hillary Clinton, even I forgot who it said. I don't know if it was McCain or one of those figures were saying that she was more Republican than Rand Paul was. So she fits more of the moderate area that she can say enough things for both left and right to actually get her into office. And that's what it comes down to during the campaign, is saying things to appeal to whoever's listening to you. And that's why, and I might get criticism from you, Sam, for this, because I know you support Rand Paul, and I do to a certain degree, but he has been switching a lot of his opinions and things he stood firmly behind during his whole build-up to the primary 2016 campaign, Republican campaign. So, I mean, it's getting to that point. I mean, just like when Obama got elected in '08, I'm going all the way back to '08. He was saying whatever he could to appeal to the masses. I mean, whatever you know, if he could get credence, if he could get any play, if he could get people cheering and clapping, that's what they're going to start saying, and they'll play to their base. And I don't know. How do you feel about it, Sam?
I think that Rand has gone out of his way to downplay the things that separated him from Ron that made a lot of us worry about supporting him initially. But, I mean, again, I think he jumped on the Planned Parenthood debate real quick. And I think, I'm not a real big Planned Parenthood fan, but I don't think that everything they do is evil either. Like, I know a number of people who have gone there. And a majority of them a vast majority, have absolutely nothing to do with abortion, and it has to do with a lot of other female issues. And I know he was talking about pulling the funding on this over the body part debate, and definitely giving red meat to his base. But I don't know. I think it may prove yet that she was talking about legal tissue harvesting. I don't know if she was or not. But I think that it may have been given with the person who received the abortion may have given the consent, and you can argue whether it's right or not, but I'm not sure it's necessarily what people on the right are backing it as. But my point is I noticed he jumped right at it.
Yeah, he jumped on that hook really quickly, and you've been seeing a lot of that. I mean, even with Hillary Clinton, candidates such as those. And, you know, this is just, such a sensitive issue for people that claim to be Tea Partiers and whatever. They use the subjects like gay marriage and abortion. You know, of course, gay marriage being a left-wing agenda, or, you know, and abortion being a right-wing, you know, usually backed, you know, anti-abortion rhetoric being backed by right-wingers. So he is definitely playing to his base. And I'm not changing the subject here. I just want to shift gears a little bit. But the whole Iran deal that just happened, you know, and I know you're usually on the opposite realm of this, but Rand Paul criticizing the Iran deal, but then his father, on the other hand, supporting the Iran deal.
Yes.
And I'm actually on Ron Paul's side for this one, and I know you're probably on Rand Paul's side for this one.
Very much Rand because of the earthquake that is going to happen. Now, you can build pretty much anywhere in the world but there.
Yeah, but, you know, my whole argument here is, let me pull up the article I was reading by The Hill. Actually, I shared it on the Media Speaks just yesterday, or was it this morning? Yeah, I believe it was yesterday, but it was an article by The Hill saying how Ron Paul supports Iran deal. And he actually made a couple of good points that I think you might even agree with. I mean, you maybe not. I can't speak for you, Sam, but I'll let you respond to what Ron Paul said. Yes. Just a couple of random quotes from his interview regarding what he said. He said, "We have," and I quote, "we have learned to, and been conditioned to distrust and hate the Persians, and that they're going to kill us," Paul said. And but there's no history to show that Iran are aggressive people. And he says, "When was the last time they invaded a country? Over 200 years ago." And he added, and comparing Iran's support for terror groups to what the CIA has been doing for the last God knows how many years. He says, you know, and it's that same line he spit during his 2012 campaign and previous campaigns. We're in 160 countries, and Iran is, you know, involved with Hezbollah and others trying to protect their interests. But, you know, also one point is something that conservatives aren't saying left and right here is Reagan did another deal with the Soviets, and at the height of the Cold War, and they had 30,000 missiles, and Iran doesn't have any missiles or any capabilities of making missiles. I really think that's a good point. And we're doing deals with the Soviets, who could basically bomb whoever they wanted at the time during the Cold War, and they didn't say boo to Reagan for doing that. Yet there was an even bigger gamble at that time. It was more of a risk of actual nuclear war and fallout. I don't know. Would you like to respond to any of those quotes from Ron Paul, Sam?
I think that in terms of the country itself, they're chanting death to America as we okay their nuclear power plant. That's one problem. But the bigger problem is, and this is the one I think needs to be known and shouted from the rooftops, is it's absolutely irrelevant what Iran wants to do with the nuclear power plant. It's irrelevant that Israel has one, and it's irrelevant that any other country has one. The only thing that matters is that the same scientists and same geologists who have predicted a Fukushima-sized earthquake at Fukushima are the same people who are predicting that in the next 25 years absolute scientific fact is going to happen in that spot, in Bashir, right where they are building it. It is the single most unstable place on the entire globe, and they are going to kill more Arabs than 1 million angry Zionists. It is a matter of absolute fact. It's going to be a fact.
Well, to go to your point,
power, Sam. When you say shouldn't they be able to have equality, just like any other nation?
No, because they're sitting on Earth. They're
power.
No, because they're in the one spot that is geographically impossible for that to happen.
Okay, so say they moved it to a slightly safer spot. What would you say then?
They would have to literally almost move it onto the border of another country to get away from how big this earthquake is going to be, which is all right, but it definitely should not be.
Okay, that's just like saying that California shouldn't have any nuclear.
California is the second. California is the second worst place.
I agree to disagree on that, Sam. I mean, look at California. We have huge fault lines.
It's coming. No, it's going to be. It's going to be.
We make movies called San Andreas. I mean,
it is. No, and like Helen Caldicott said, she's like, nobody believes that it's going to happen. Just like nobody believes it in Japan, and it will completely obliterate up to 1/3 of the country when it does happen.
Well,
and I agree with her that it's going to happen. Helen Caldicott, Arnie Gunderson is another person who's been on this repeatedly saying what that's going to do.
Sam, to your question, and I think this is a good question, and I'm asking you, Sam, do you think that earthquakes should have been written into the Iran nuclear deal in any way? What do you think?
I think that they should have had a few of the doctors on there that have been clamoring for a very long time, saying that it's going to hit in 3 major places. It was going to hit in Japan, then it was going to hit in Iran, and that it's not going to be as big in California. The trouble is that we have so many nuclear power plants so badly built and so old in California. It's going to be a slightly different problem there, because I don't think that they're predicting the magnitude of earthquake that they are predicting in Iran, which is going to be an earth-devastating earthquake just like Fukushima's was.
Okay, great. So which presidential candidate in 2016 do you think can build the best nuclear power plants? Donald Trump?
That would definitely be Rand Paul and Gary Johnson, because even though I don't know if they're anti-nuke, they want to pull subsidies away from big corporations, and nuclear power could not exist without subsidies, so that would be wonderful. It would shut them down almost immediately.
Interesting. Okay, great. And Kort, I'm sure you had something to say?
Yeah, no, I mean, I just wanted to point out that, and I'm not criticizing, Sam individually here, but when you point out how nations should have sovereign rights, we all agree we should have sovereign rights, but there should be equal rights among nations. We shouldn't have any say in what the Iranians or Persians, whatever you would like to call them.
Yeah, but that argument falls apart, Kort, with things that are nuke, because that's like saying that your neighbor in a duplex should be allowed to have a meth plant. That's going to blow up your house too. That doesn't apply when other nations are affected by your nuclear power plant melting down.
Okay, you're comparing a meth lab to creating nuclear power for your citizens. They're not distributing, they aren't using meth to power their housing, power electricity.
But it's still a matter of individual rights that infringe on other people.
Using it to discredit any valid argument saying that they have equal rights to nations that we are befriending, equal rights to nations such as Israel, who has how many nukes and has nuclear power. So
yeah, but like I said, that's irrelevant. All that matters is the size of the earthquake that is coming to that area, and unfortunately, that's Iran that's going to get it.
I personally think that's just an excuse for you to say that they shouldn't be allowed to have nuclear power, Sam. And
I don't think anybody should be allowed to have nuclear power. They are the worst country to have nuclear power because of the earthquake.
That's just an excuse. I don't know where you're hearing this from, but I disagree with that.
It is all of the same scientists, including Miichi Aku, who have predicted...
It's just like saying, okay, unless we get every country to stop using nuclear power, then we don't have a right to say they can't.
Yeah, but you're missing it. Unfortunately, Iran is going to see the biggest earthquake since Fukushima in the next 25 years.
About California for decades, Sam, and nothing has happened.
No, they're not predicting they've never predicted a 9 for California. No, they haven't. They've never predicted a 9 for California.
Yet, the little earthquake they say have taken away from the big one that's going to happen. So there's just like with global warming, scientists disagree with each other on that.
No, most scientists have agreed that California is not looking at a 9. I've never heard any credible scientists say that they're looking at a 9. They're predicting nothing less than an 8.8, which is only 2 magnitudes of order under the...
devastating, nonetheless, right?
Yeah, they think that the entire damn mountain can come down, and they're basing it on the quake that they had there only 3 years ago. They said that wasn't even a quake so much as it was the plate rising, and when they rise like that, when the underlying sheet goes under, they can fall a number of feet. And unfortunately, I mean, thankfully for you guys in California, that's not happening in California. You guys can have a meltdown because the plants are so old, but it's not going to be because, thank God, the earthquake is not going to be a 9. A 9 changed when this hit in Japan, it changed the axis of the Earth.
Okay, Sam. Excellent debate that you guys just had, Sam. You are the Fukushima resident expert. I am in agreement with a lot of the stuff that you said. I am in agreement with a lot of the stuff that Kort said. Guys, great debate. I mean, I can only hope that we will see such a great debate in the 2016 presidential elections.
Oh, God, no. Nobody will be allowed to speak.
Right. The 2016...
We'll have Kenny Crowley stuff in there.
We got more out on today's show than we'll see in the 2016 race, guys. In today's top headlines is the 2016 race. I brought up a little bit before about how Martin O'Malley and Bernie Sanders actually just recently, this past 2 days, they outshined Hillary Clinton. And she just basically talks about herself. That's in today's headlines. And she just rambled on and on about herself. She said Donald Trump is a great candidate because people talk. Finally, someone talks more about his hair than her hair. Like now, her hair is not such a big deal because people are talking more about Donald Trump's hair. And the New Yorker puts a picture where he's jumping into the pool in a big belly flop. And all the other Republican candidates are trying to get out of the way.
Isn't Scott Walker in too?
Scott Walker has just recently joined. I believe he will be on the Republican stage next month on August 6th. Will be the first Republican debate on stage. We've talked about this the past 2 weeks. Kort, I think you were here like 2 weeks ago when we talked about this a little bit. Kort, if you had to say who was going to be on the Republican, because the Democrats, there's like 5 people, so a 10-person stage we got that. But when it comes to the Republicans, there's already 3 basketball teams worth of players but we can only have 10 on the stage. And at this time, if you're familiar with everyone that's entered the race, like about 16 people for the Republicans, Kort, do you have a guess as to who might be on that stage next month on August 6th for Fox News? And Fox News says that they're basing it on national polling, and Donald Trump has been polling number 1. Kort, who do you think is going to be on that 10-person stage?
Obviously Trump, Jeb Bush, and I think they're going to throw the main rhinos on this. They're going to throw Chris Christie on there, of course. You've seen a lot of, he's not polling high, but
they get a bigger stage.
They'd rather have him at the forefront than any candidate like Rand Paul or.
Well, Rand Paul is polling pretty well. I'm sure Rand Paul will be on the stage, and that's 4 to what you said. So. Who else do you think will be on there? Ted Cruz, do you think? Maybe is that number 5?
More than likely. I mean, seeing that as, he's definitely a candidate. I mean, he did the whole filibuster. So
okay.
he might most likely will be on there, and I think he is a lot more rhino than the likes of Rand Paul. And seeing how Fox News usually supports those that are rhinos, I would assume that they're going to have the main rhinos on there, and then they're going to marginalized candidates like Paul, just like they did with Rand Paul's father in the previous 2012 election.
Well, real quick before we get to your last 5, your second half, we did talk about that last week, Sam. And do you feel like Kort feels that Rand Paul will continue to be marginalized in the same aspect that his father Ron Paul was, or do you think that he'll somehow overcome that?
I don't know how they can overcome it. They never wanted to give Ron a question, and when he did answer a question, they never wanted to put him in the blurbs that were played later on the news. So even when he gave a great answer, you never got to hear it unless you looked it up.
Okay. Yeah, and most of the questions were, so you support Al Qaeda, right? Like he's like nice reverse question.
Let me interject a little bit, DLAKE. I've been talking to people who claim to be Republican straight up. And
okay, what are they saying?
I've named a couple of candidates that I would mildly support, such as Rand Paul and Ted Cruz. And guess what? They don't even know who those people are. So you're going to have a lot of people like that tune into the news, that go with what they're saying, and saying the candidates like Paul or even any third-party candidates that have any credence like Johnson, if Jesse Ventura decides to run, that they're not even going to get a voice once again. And I know people like Johnson have been suing the Committee of Presidential Debates to include third-party candidates. So if they're able to do that this time, there's more of a chance. But I kind of think the Trump, having someone like Trump it has all this timing in there. I think that if he's included in the debates, he's going to totally grandstand over anybody that we would actually support 100%, almost 100%. It's hard to support what any candidate says 100%. We're all.
How do you feel about him grandstanding just to a certain point, then drop out and basically have been covering for everyone basically maybe covering for Bush the whole time? Do you think that he could be Bush's fluffer?
Because
is he Bush's fluffer? Look, I just watched Unfinished Business with Vince Vaughn. Everyone go watch it. Every company has a fluffer that fluffs while the main candidate is doing his business. I mean, in that movie, the fluffer won. But do you think that, essentially, raising the vig here, do you think that Trump could be Bush's fluffer? Or Hillary's fluffer.
He could also be Hillary's fluffer. I was just about to say that. You took the words right out of my mouth. Because he's donated to both parties in the past hundreds of thousands of dollars. So it's.
I will be right back, guys.
While Sam takes his break, I just wanted to point out that he's donated to parties. He used to really be supportive of the Clintons. Previous donation.
Right, that was in the news a lot this week about how they were in the front row at his wedding, He's been married 3 times, and he's like, I believe in traditional marriage, so that's pretty funny. But I met Melania in person. Melania Trump, Donald's wife. I met Donald Trump in person, shook his hand. I met Melania and Caroline and a lot of his crew. And Melania is probably the most beautiful woman I've ever seen in my life. I'm sorry. Okay, go ahead.
Are you going after the coup?
She's fucking amazing.
Home wreck.
Melania right now. Donald, put me on your presidential staff. I'm bang your wife. I heard Melania
we'll know what happened there.
I heard Melania is really into poor guys with big beards.
Shows, yeah.
Trump, he's tired of him. She wants some real action.
What I noticed though is people who are pretty big in business, such as Trump, I think they usually support. They'll pretty much donate their money to wherever it's going to help them, whether it be Republican, Democrat, or whatever.
Well, of course that's gonna be his excuse for why he donated all that money, because it was politically expedient for him at the time, right, Kort?
Exactly. You know what? And I'll go with a person I used to work for. He owns a private contractor, a federal contractor. You could look up who they've donated to, and you see that he's donated just the same as Trump does to certain Republican and Democratic politicians. During different times, it's just it's to wherever it benefits them financially.
So in a lot of ways, well, in a lot of ways they say that's why he is sort of like Ross Perot. Last week I mentioned there's Melania, she's so hot. Last week I mentioned how someone was quoted saying that Donald Trump was sort of like a Ross Perot, Ronald Reagan. And I mean, I don't know if that goes to his complete ideology or his, stance on everything in particular, but he's like Ross Perot because he's a giant business magnate, and he's like Ronald Reagan because when Ronald Reagan came into politics, they remembered him from being on TV, the same way they remember Donald Trump from being on TV, right, Kort?
Well, yeah, and also people like, I guess you could make that comparison, and I'll be straightforward here. I do not support Donald Trump for president, but only because I just don't think he can beat anyone like Hillary Clinton on a head-to-head basis. And what they're going to do is just they're going to utilize the people that take offense to in what they call racist comment.
Mm-hmm. Oh man, Kort, you were just making a really solidified bonus point right there, and you froze up. Kort, you're still there.
I did.
Kort, you just roboed. It sounded like you were making a really brilliant point. Go ahead. Rewind a little bit to you were saying how. Go ahead with the Trump comment there.
Well, I'm just saying you've had an example, a taste of what the media will do. When Donald, and take out of context when Donald Trump says things like the Mexicans sent us their rapists and their child.
Oh yeah. Now he's a racist and possibly a rapist, or I don't know. Yeah, he's a racist for saying that, right?
Yeah, and that's what they're going to do.
In a politically correct media world, right? Yeah, go ahead.
I think they're going to tie anybody that has any sort of conservative ideals or content, somewhat, across the board. I mean, Trump says that we should hang Snowden and that we should kill Edward Snowden. I don't support that at all.
Oh I don't agree with that.
And I hate to attack your, I know you've kind of supported him and you've met him, and it's hard for me to criticize. I know you have kind of a personal attachment to him.
I had forgotten about that.
No, feel free. Fucking fire away, man. Look, the whole purpose of this show is for all of us to stay informed and for us to have disagreements. And look, yeah, it's like you said earlier, if every Saturday was a sausage festive agreement where we all fucking just love sausage, and that's not a good show. Like, one of us has to be like, look, guys, I don't think I want sausages this fucking weekend. You know what I mean? Come on. Like, yeah. I'm like, maybe Trump is good, but I seriously want to hear the objections to say that, like, DLAKE, you're probably wrong, or maybe you're wrong, because, like, in 2000, look, I said it last week. In 2008 and 2012, Ron Paul was my candidate. Look, guys, I've been devastated for my picks for over 8 years, and we're going into 2016, and like, I just want to be right. I just want to win, but I don't want to win with Hillary Clinton or Jeb Bush. So, like, how am I going to win?
Go ahead, Sam. You just came back. I want to hear what you have to say.
Sam, look, I don't want Hillary and I don't want Jeb. We're talking about the 2016 presidential race. Should I be supporting Martin O'Malley, the shirtless president, with his democratic progressive rhetoric? I don't want that.
I think the thing is with Trump is that he's donated to a lot of Democrats, and he might be one of the reasons that we have Obama. Not that he supported Obama per se, as much as he put people in power who supported Obama. What do you think, Kort?
Well, if I could just jump in real quick, to my defense, this past week, Donald Trump was attacking Rick Perry, and saying that it was Rick Perry's fault for not, securing the border in Texas. But I kind of agree a little bit more with Rick Perry when he says that the border is Obama's job. That's a federal thing, and Trump should spend more time attacking Obama than attacking Rick Perry. I certainly agree with that. Trump, I think, going after Rick Perry, I mean, maybe Rick Perry doesn't know what Kort, help me out here. Demagoguery. He says, Donald Trump says Rick Perry doesn't even know what demagoguery means. And here I am stumbling all over the word.
Trump is a very successful businessman. We could use him as like a Treasury Secretary, something of that nature.
Economically,
the president I think is a long shot. You obviously need someone with some sort of political experience, and I'm not saying that career politicians are the only masters.
Well, that's why people are definitely flocking to Trump, is because they're tired of career politicians, and I've had people message me and say exactly that.
Hey, you know what? Even though he endorsed Mitt Romney, I would still say let's put Ross Perot back on the polls, man. I mean,
is Ross Perot still alive?
What's that? I think he is. Yeah, he is. He's very old, but yeah, he is still alive.
Ross Perot is alive?
Yeah, he's alive.
Let me look that up. Go ahead.
No, yeah, he's definitely still alive. He's very old. I mean, he was born in like the 30s, so he's getting up there. But anyway,
he's 85 years old. He's 85.
I think he'd be better than any Jeb Bush or Hillary Clinton. I mean, he what did he get? Like 18% when he ran in 92 or something like that? I can't remember.
Right. Okay. So since we're talking about the 2016 race, and we've been talking about it for quite some time now. Actually, we're going a little bit over time here, guys. But just real quickly, if you could wrap up with your thoughts about if this all bears down to a Bush-Clinton. Let's just say, hypothetically, there's Ross Perot. Let's just say, hypothetically, the race boils down to the Republican and Democratic nominations being Hillary Clinton and Jeb Bush. What will you guys do, and how will you feel?
I'll feel extremely depressed, and I'll vote for Gary Johnson.
I would probably. I agree, Sam. I'd probably look on moving out of this country. It's just there's no hope for humanity. I mean, I've been feeling that way the last year or so, the last couple of years, ever since just talking to people. You walk down the street, you chat it up with somebody you meet randomly. A lot of people will be on the same page, but then you'll find that one moron, that just never paid attention to anything. They say they're liberal, they say they're Republican, and they just go with whoever. They're like, yeah, Hillary Clinton's a great person. And you ask them why, and they can't really tell you anything. They'll go, oh well, Bill was a good president. We had the lowest. They'll say we had the lowest debt. We had no wars. They'll go down with that. They'll say, they'll like people like, oh yeah, Bush was a good president. They won't tell you exactly why. They won't tell you what Jeb has done. They'll just say, oh well, he's been governor, so he has the experience, even though it was partially responsible for that whole recount. He was his state during the recount against Gore, and there was that conspiracy that he had a lot to do with fixing the recount. And I'm not saying in any way, shape, or form that I support Gore at all. So nobody.
Well, Kort. While I have Jeb versus Hillary images up on my screen, I have a quick add-on follow-up question. Oh, I like the Jeblery 2016 pick. But real quick, Kort, if I can get your thoughts and opinions, and Sam as well, how do you feel about the fact that neither Hillary or Jeb is running on their last names? They're running as Hillary versus Jeb. They're not using Clinton versus Bush. Like they're both exactly trying to reduce and eliminate their last names. They're not trying to run on the Bush name. They're not trying to run on the Clinton name. They're trying to run on the Hillary and Jeb names. And I mean, it's obvious in their campaign activity. And Sam, how do you feel about that?
I hadn't really noticed it till you said it, but that is exactly what they're doing.
Yeah, it's ready for Hillary and Jeb 2016. It's not Bush Clinton. They're trying to eliminate their ties and connections, but it's obvious that it's there. But how do you feel about it, Kort?
It's an obvious counter to what people like us are saying, aren't we sick of Bushes and Clintons? Of course, they're going to try to disassociate their predecessors, family, who were in office before them. And that's exactly what they're doing. And just like Sam said, I didn't really pay attention to their campaign slogans like you have, or them running strictly on their person. Because you're right. You see the stickers that were coming out just after I called it out, saying they were ready for Hillary. And I've seen the Jeb. It just says Jeb, just like you're saying 2016. It doesn't say Bush. Because when you think of Bush, you think of W. Bush. You think of Bush Sr. When you think of Clinton, you think of Bill Clinton. And it's exactly what they're doing. I just think it just shows the scope of the mindset of America that we're allowing this to happen time and time again. I think it's sick. I'm sick and tired of this shit. If you're watching this, those candidates, just fucking kill yourself, please.
Yeah. Kort, just one last final question for you. Which do you prefer, Coke or Pepsi?
Neither.
Yeah. But I'm DLAKE for PREZ, today's host of today's fancy TMS Live show. You can see that I'm just having a fantastic time here at StickerJunkie.com, where you can make stickers that say whatever you want. Awesome. Send us your artwork. Awesome stickers. But I do want to say that the candidate that we've made the most grassroots, we make grassroots stickers. We make the stickers that of the slogans and ideas and thoughts that you send us. And at this time, talk Bernie to me. I'm ready for Bernie. Bernie 2016. Bernie Sanders has been the candidate that we've made the most stickers for. I haven't even made a Trump sticker yet.
Oh,
Rand? You made any Rand?
Nope. Bernie.
Now that's a surprise.
Maybe we made some Ron Paul stickers in the past. Maybe we've made a one or two maybe one Rand sticker, but lately in the past couple weeks, it's all Bernie. Oh, jeez. I'm really fucking up the show. Hey, Sam.
Yes.
Last week, you were ahead of the news in science. You talked about the horizon getting shots of Pluto before it happened. But then this week it became major fucking news, and I just want to congratulate you on being ahead of the times when it comes to our science news, man. You kick
Thank you
ass.
very much. I've got Pluto updates.
All right. Well, hey, that's my transition to science. Sam, what do you have for today's science news? Science Front with Sam DiGangi. Go ahead.
Thank you, DLAKE. It continues on where last week has left us. This is from NASA. How big is Pluto? The New Horizons settles decades-long debate. And this does lend itself to, in fact, being a planet. It confirms what was long suspected. It's larger than all other known solar system objects beyond the orbit of Neptune. And those that say it hasn't cleared its own path may not be as right as they think they are, which is, of course, one of the definitions of a planet. NASA's New Horizons mission has answered one of the most basic questions about Pluto, and that's its size. Mission scientists have found Pluto to be 1,473 miles in diameter, somewhat larger than many prior estimates. Images acquired, it says, with the long-range reconnaissance imager called a LORRI were used to make the determination, and the result confirms what was already suspected. Pluto is larger than all other known solar objects beyond the orbit of Neptune, so it's a big icy rock. The size of Pluto has been debated since its discovery in 1930. We are excited to finally lay this question to rest, said mission scientist Bill McKinnon, Washington University of St. Louis. Pluto's newly estimated size means that its density is slightly lower than previously thought, and the fraction of ice on its interior is slightly higher. Also, the lowest layer of Pluto's atmosphere, called the troposphere, is shallower than previously believed. Measuring Pluto's size, it goes on, has been a decade-long challenge. The largest moon, Charon, lacks a substantial atmosphere, and its diameter was easier to determine using ground-based telescopes. New Horizons observations of Charon confirm previous estimates, 751 miles across. And it's also zoomed in on the two smaller moons, Nix and Hydra. It said, we knew from the time that we designed our flyby that we would only be able to study the small moons in detail for just a few days before our closest approach. And they have it. Nix and Hydra were discovered using Hubble, and even with Hubble, they only appeared as little points of light. The two smallest moons, which is Kerberos and Styx, smaller and fainter than Nix and Hydra, they are harder to measure. Mission scientists should be able to determine their sizes with observations. New Horizons will make a flyby and transit to Earth later in the decade. So I'm at a later date. I'm interested to see if the orbit of the moons create any kind of heat friction. Because if you have heat friction in water, then you could also have minor forms of life as well. And the last thing I found on it was, this is from LA Times, it was like we practiced New Horizons' flawless Pluto flyby. I'm not going to get as in-depth into it, but it said it's official. They have survived, of course, it survived its flyby from Pluto. It says we have a healthy spacecraft, we have a healthy system, and we are outbound of Pluto. So they're going to be looking at the Kuiper Belt and all of the objects that are past Pluto. It took 9.5 years, but it flew over 7,500 miles above Pluto, which is 3 billion miles from Earth. And it said the images that they get on the most science from, they want to be the first to come down, and they've been posting them, I guess, quite frequently. I haven't seen the last couple. But that's pretty much your news from the Science Front update today. We are actually learning quite a bit about Pluto. I do want to read real quick. It said the New Horizons team will work with NASA to choose among 3 potential Kuiper Belt objects to send the spacecraft to next, and possibly fire its engine to point in the right direction. So it'll be interesting to see which of the objects out there they choose to do next. What do you think?
I think that's awesome, man. Just keep exploring and like let us see what's out there. I mean, that's amazing.
There's a movement to make it a planet again and not just an ice giant.
Yes, I agree.
Oh, a dwarf. Yeah. Why are you gonna call it a dwarf? A midget? Come on. It's a small person. Like, let's be politically correct. How dare you? How dare you say Pluto's not a planet? How dare you, NASA? A dwarf? A dwarf?
It was a really bad idea. A lot of people, including myself, think so because they say that it didn't clear out a path of its orbit. It did. It's pulled some of the other objects into it, I should say. Or if it broke apart, it was able to retain its system of keeping moons intact. So.
Well, fucking how dare NASA call Pluto a dwarf? I think it's a planet. Come on. It's been a planet for so long, and we got the new pictures, and we saw the whale, and it's just amazing.
Pictures and not just a little spot.
Yeah. Yeah. Let Horizons continue to get us more pictures. I mean, Sam, isn't Horizons on its way back, or what's it going to do
No,
next?
I don't think it ever comes back. It's going to go into the Kuiper Belt, and if it makes it through that, God only knows where it's going to go.
Oh, what if it gets pictures of a black hole, and then what if the next pictures that come out are Matthew McConaughey at a bookcase?
Or the shirtless president, yes.
What if the next pictures that come back are a shirtless president? Okay, brilliant segue into entertainment. Kort, have you seen any good movies lately?
Good. Not anything.
Okay, Sam, have you seen any good movies lately?
I'm a big horror movie fan.
And what did you see?
Christelle and
It Follows?
Christelle and I went to see Gallows, and it sucked.
Oh, that's terrible.
They had spent so much money on it that we had been hoping that it was going to be the.
They filmed part of that in Fresno too, I guess.
We wanted it to be like the horror movie of the summer. It was such a letdown. It was really the storyline. The script is weaker than a 90-year-old woman's bladder after drinking a 12-pack of Coors. It was just. And I didn't see it follow.
You still gotta watch yourself on Penny Dreadful, Sam. If you like, it's somewhat horror actually. If you, they should probably have.
Yeah, Sam, you gotta watch that. You're in it.
But you should watch the first 2 seasons. There, it should be available somewhere. I definitely think you guys would like it. It's a really good show.
Yeah, Penny Dreadful. Sam, did you see It Follows yet?
No, I probably
supposed to be the horror classic. I just watched it last night.
I hadn't heard about it till last night.
It's good. It's pretty creepy. I liked it. It's kind of weird. It has sexual overtones and hot chicks and like dudes that just want to bang the hot chicks and like, but for some reason, the sex makes the witchcraft curse like. They never say anything like that in the movie, but I felt like it was like a curse.
Where they see wait, is that where they see the person? If they have sex with them, then that person follows them.
Yeah, like real slow.
That's an excellent movie. Yeah, I like that movie. I'm sorry, I didn't see that. I didn't know the name.
Yeah.
I did see that.
Okay, so I just watched that, and I watched Kevin Costner, Black or White.
Never heard of that.
Black or White with Kevin Costner. Thought it was a pretty good movie. Here it is. So he's the grandpa, and he had his daughter died in childbirth, giving birth to the multiracial half black, half white granddaughter. The black grandma wants the baby, or the 7-year-old to come live with her. The Falcon's in it. Kevin Costner said the N-word, but he was really sorry that he said that. But he hates the son, and it was a good movie. It was racially charged, but it was better than anything Barack Obama said on race in the past 8 years. So I thought it was a good movie. Kevin Costner.
If only Kyle knew. He'd
And
be
just like Kevin Costner, I'm going to digitally make my hair look better in the movie. Just so you know.
Is that what he did?
I don't know. It looks like it.
I
But that's what he did for Waterworld. Guys, are you familiar with stars doing digital effects on their several hot chicks have been they're like Lindsay Lohan's boobs were toned down for Herbie the movie because they didn't want. And Superman, remember the Superman movie, Anthony, with Brandon Routh?
Yeah.
Superman Returns.
Wait, I've only seen one of the newer Supermans.
The Superman Returns with Brandon Routh. Apparently, his package was so big that they had to tone it down with CGI, so his cock wouldn't look so huge the whole time.
Yeah.
It's movie It's movie magic. It's movie magic. Never mind.
Before I go, I have to get ready for the show, get a bath, but I have to say, you guys know how I love Clockwork Orange. I have the worst news ever. Clockwork Orange actor Aubrey Morris dies at 89. The Mr. Deltoid, the guy that said yes after everything he said during the movie. Aubrey Morris, best known for his role as Mr. Deltoid in Stanley Kubrick's A Clockwork Orange, died. He was 89. He died Wednesday, his agent said. He's memorable for the scene, of course, in Clockwork Orange, where he ends up smacking Malcolm McDowell in the nuts while trying to warn him about the error of his ways. It said his credits include The Wicker Man, the musical Litzmania, Woody Allen's comedy Love and Death, and dramedy My Girl 2 with Dan Aykroyd and Jamie Lee Curtis. He's also in a lot of the old Tales from the Dark Side and things like that. Christelle and I end up running into him all the time and stuff. He has a 5-decade career that includes work on The Flyaway Peter in 48. He's also been in The Saint, Mr. Sweeney, The Prisoners, The Avengers, Deadwood, and It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. And he made his debut in A Winter's Tale in 44, spent 2 years at Old Vic, and had roles on Broadway. So unfortunately, Mr. Deltoid is no longer with us.
Well, we lost Spock, we lost Christopher Lee, Dracula, and now we lost this guy. It's crazy.
They're dropping like flies.
Aubrey Morris, man, yes.
Losing a lot
Every one of you that ends up in the stratty hole.
Let me, I'm set up to...
I just saw this one, DLAKE. It's saying Trump slams McCain for being captured in Vietnam. I just thought I'd throw that out there.
Oh, yeah, he was attacking, McCain was attacking him. He's attacking McCain, that's great. But I'm going to play a little bit of this.
I just wanted to put it out there because I saw that right now.
Nothing like Malcolm McDowell in his underwear.
Hi, Mr. Deltoid. Funny surprise seeing you here.
Alec, boy, awake at last, yes?
Yes?
I met your mother on the way to work, yes? She gave me the key.
Yes, okay.
She said something about a pain somewhere, hence not at school, yes?
A rather intolerable pain in the head, brother, sir. I think it should be cleared by this after lunch.
Well, certainly by this evening, yes.
Mm.
Evening's the great time, isn't it, Alex, boy?
Cover the old chai, sir?
No time, yes. Sit in the stripy hole.
It's coming.
Sir, the Millicents have nothing on me, brother. Sir, I mean.
This clever talk about Millicent just because the police haven't picked you up lately doesn't, as you very well know, mean that you've not been up to some nastiness. There was a bit of a nastiness last night, yes? Some very extreme nastiness, yes?
Extreme nastiness, yes.
When ambulance got late, yes. Your name was mentioned. The words got through to me by the usual channel. Certain friends of yours were named also. Oh, nobody can prove anything about anybody, as usual. And I'm warning you, little Alex.
Smack him in the nuts.
Good friend to you as always. The one man in this sore and sick community who wants to save you from yourself.
Oh! Sam.
Mr. Deltoid.
All right, R.I.P., right?
R.I.P. What a brilliant send-off. For the YouTube Nazis, it was done for purposes of commentary. Yes, Mr. Deltoid, we send you off on your way, and hope we've done a good job sending you into the other side in our entertainment section.
Do you like?
Anthony, final words?
Well, thanks for having me on, guys. It's been a while, and I'm glad to rejoin the show at least every other week when I can, when I'm not busy. I will be starting to drive very soon, so I will have a little more on certain days and be able to contribute more to the website.
Did you want to try to cut into Donald Trump a little bit more before you go, or?
Well, you know, just like he's criticizing Perry, now he's attacking McCain. He's obviously on the attack of the mainline GOP candidates.
McCain said this week that Trump was igniting the crazies.
Yeah, he's igniting John McCain, the crazies, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So just like he said, they're igniting the crazies. They're getting people pissed off, but at the same time, I mean, it could be playing to him.
Yeah, McCain says he's igniting the crazies, but doesn't include himself in that when he's the one that's getting the most ignited. I know, right, Kort? Man, you just nailed it on the head there. You just hit the nail on the head, Anthony.
Thanks, Mr. Sasha. But, yeah, inside joke, probably nobody watching that would understand unless they saw our movie, Becoming Paul Revere, which was totally awesome and you should check out if by a long shot. Should have won, but you know what? Life moves on, anyways. Beyond that, you know, it's great to rejoin you guys. I hope to start writing more articles, get back into the game, and great having. Although Sam and I ended up still disagreeing in the end, it was great having the debate here on the show.
Oh, I miss you greatly, Kort. You have to come back as soon as humanly possible.
Hey, our debates are the best part of the show. And Becoming Paul Revere was an excellent movie that everyone needs to check out. Just look it up on YouTube right now, Becoming Paul Revere in the year 1776. No. It's a great movie, and it stars Anthony Kort, myself, Sam DiGangi, and, of course, Kyle Phillips, who couldn't be here today. You can find us on the Internet at themediaspeaks.com on YouTube, themediaspeaks.com on the Internet, The Media Speaks on Facebook, The Media Speaks on Twitter, The Media Speaks on your granny's panties. The Media Speaks at Amazon Prime Super Special Sales. It was $399.99, but now it's $399.94, saving you a total of 5 cents. So if you buy 993,000 of those, you will actually get one free. Thank you. And everyone, please.
It's my last weekend as a single man, by the way. I will be married as the next time you see me.
Future congrats.
Sam will be getting married before the next show, right?
Probably during the next show, so I'll probably miss next Saturday.
Oh my God. Well, Kyle better be here, or else it's going to be me and Kort, or just me by myself, and no one wants that.
3 p.m. You should be DLAKE. You should come. You should come. Be here at 3 p.m. You should be here.
All right. Well. Ideally, next weekend I'm going to be back in my home studio, so we're all excited for that to happen. And everybody, thank you for joining us today and watching the full show. We had at least one person. There was people jumping in and out the whole time, but there was one person who seemed to have watched the whole show. And you know what? I love you.
Pour juice on your chin.